got some rogue actions coming hot at you guys on a Tuesday. I know the intro said Monday. What the heck happened, Heinzie? Like it literally says Monday.
Even Rogue Actions takes a day off. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone else took the day off. Why can't Rogue Actions? It's got a life of itself.
Yeah, so we had a busy day yesterday. I was on a holiday, didn't end up getting to record, but here we are. We got a lot to discuss today, guys. Let's get right into the mini moment, shall we?
Sounds good. I think it explains a lot.
I just want one thing, and it is disgusting. Gungans.
Wouldn't put it past them, Cubs. Would not put it past them these days. We have Omega in the game. Anything now is possible, to be honest.
I think Boss Nass would be a high single target damage dealer.
Absolutely.
He would just look at them and go, and then they just,
Oh, I love it. I love it.
You sent me this video. This one's possible. Pretty funny. All new game mode, cancel quest.
Yeah, saw that one floating around the community a fair bit. I didn't come up with that one. I'm not responsible for it. But, yeah. It's definitely quite pertinent at the moment over the last week or so, Cubs.
Yeah, and so we're going to talk, I'll just jump right into our first subject of the day. People quitting Galaxy of Heroes feels a little bit more, there's a lot more than I'm used to seeing leaving this game right now. Has me a bit concerned about, the health of the game, of course. Obviously, the game's important to us. We cover the game. We want the game to be around, and it's caught my attention right now, and I think there's really two big factors that are contributing to a lot of people we know and love leaving the game. I'm seeing just a super heavy influx of quit posts on Reddit, which, Reddit's always negative, more negative than a lot of places, but it's even notable for them. And we've got, obviously, the nerf, but also I really think that Conquest is a big part of this. And let me just share a poll right now. This is a live poll that I posted this morning, already up to 169 votes on it. Nice. And here's kind of the spread on how people are feeling about Conquest. Only 0.6% are giving it an A based on my poll. We've got a 10% spread giving it a decent grade on the B. C is 27% and just changing right there. And then we got 61.6% giving it a pretty bad grade. And it's interesting, Heinzie, because I feel like Conquest has just gone nothing but down since it released to very, very good reception. I think most people really liked it at first, right?
Yeah.
And this is kind of the question I want to ask CG, and the question I want to ask all of you guys out there is what is the goal with Conquest? And it really felt like when it was first released, the goal was to have a fun game mode. That was the biggest focus with Conquest. Why deployable cooling systems was received so well. And it feels like they're moving away from that part of Conquest to a more of a whale focus on, we want people to have full rosters. We want people to really, help me out with this, Heinzie.
I don't think it's really well focused. And there is an element of needing a huge spread of your roster. There's no doubt. I don't think it's well focused. I do believe that it's gone more grindy than it used to be, and that's probably the operative word.
Okay, you're probably saying that better than I was saying it.
There's a lot more overwhelming discourse with the new amount of feats and what they involve, and what we have to do to achieve them. And it is really quite disheartening. We see a lot of communities, Cubs. We talk to a lot of people out there with what we do, with who we communicate with. That's just what we do in general. And there is a lot of there's an overwhelming majority of people very unhappy about this game mode this time around in comparison to previously. And I was one of the people that absolutely just lapped it up at the start. I couldn't get enough of it. I thought it was fun. It was entertaining. It was dynamic. It was really, really fun. And obviously the rewards were great, but it was an event instead of a chore. And I'm concerned that it's going more towards the chore focus at this point in time. which I don't think is great for it. I understand that they're releasing top-end characters into this now, and you have to earn it. That's what they want. That's in my mind the opinion on the direction that they're running with this, but it's too much.
I think what I really want to see I want to see a response on this. You know, I mean, the way if this is a community-centered game mode, like we want this to be a game mode where you guys can go have fun and that kind of thing. The community doesn't, by and large, seem to be having fun with this. And so how can we go back to the drawing board and address this? And is it just meant to be like we just want this to be a miserable grind and a chore for you to get all of your mall shards or whatever the new character is? But right now they're not hitting the mark on that. In my view, I don't see them hitting that mark. And so
there was no doubt it was too. For those that have been playing the game for a long time with a decent, solid roster, they were knocking out Conquest reasonably quickly previously. I think we all agree with that. I'd knock it out in 3 or 4 days. I'd be bored for the next 10 waiting for my rewards. And a lot of people will like that. I definitely needed an adjustment in difficulty, no doubt. But I thought that might have come from an extra hard mode or an even harder mode of this type of event, not dialed up in this form at the hard mode level, because we keep hearing all the time how easy it is to change things around in this particular game mode. I think that it's been proven so far to be the opposite. I think every time that it's been released, there's certainly been some issues with it one way or another, whether they're minor or major. So there's still certainly some work to do there. But I just feel, Cubs, that it definitely needed to be more difficult than it was. It was getting a bit of a snore fest because you could knock through it pretty quick and you just wait for 4 or 5 days or 8 days or whatever it was to finish it. It's too much now, though. I think it's gone too far. That's just my opinion. No one else. That's it. Just mine.
So I hear this feedback sometimes from either companies or dev studios or whatever, like, don't just complain, give ways to improve. Otherwise it's empty. So Heinze, let's talk about some ways to specifically improve this. I think one of the biggest ones for me, comfortably, is that we've just inserted feats that do nothing but add to the grind. And so I'll give you an example. Like the mid-range bosses, you have to beat it with an undersized squad. Then you have to beat it with a full squad of light side, and then a full squad of dark side. There is no fun in that. That is literally just beat it 3 times. We want you to beat it 3. Only contributes to the grind. And so, to me, I think we really need to give a hard look at Conquest and say, okay, what is the purpose of this feat? Is the purpose to increase the fun or increase the challenge or increase the strategy? Or is it just to make it more grindy? Is it just to make you go into this battle multiple times and make you play? Another example is a lot of these, win 14 battles with bounty hunters. Okay, so there's how many battles throughout the whole thing, and what are the other feats? Like, it's basically making you go through Conquest 3-4 times. There's not strategy in that. It's removing the strategy. It's removing the fun. It is just pure grind. And I think that stuff needs to go.
Yep, that's 13 refreshes on a night sister node. I mean, that's what it is. We all know how that works. I mean, you're going to achieve it that way. And it's just, you need to refresh or do it over the 14 days if you can.
Why would that be fun? Like,
it's not enjoyable. It's grindy, and it's just, I think it's a bit over demanding. And I'm not going to look. Okay, so I don't want to sit here and be negative Nancy. You know that. Not my style. It really isn't. And CJ, let's be clear. We love this game and we want it to be better. That's the only reason that we're going down this track.
We would not care if we didn't love the game.
Right?
And now this is literally contributing to people quitting the game. This is a major factor, I think, for a lot of people, because obviously the nerf was a big thing. And I feel like with what the direction that Conquest has gone, it has kind of been a last straw for people. So I think this is a big, important thing to talk about.
Cubs, I've heard of people out there that are actually paying other people to do it for them because it's too much work.
Wow. Hey, there you go. There you go, Pimpo. There's more ways to monetize the game.
That's the extent of this layout. People are actually paying other people to complete it because they've looked at it and gone, you know what? I just physically do not have the time over the next 14 days to sit there and do all of these additional refreshes to knock it out. I know someone else that has plenty of time up their sleeve, and here you go, and they're knocking it out for them.
Fascinating.
And it's not ideal. That's not the way it should be designed in any way, shape, or form. And I've heard of a player that spent probably over $100K in this game, and he's seriously contemplating leaving. He's spending $50 a week now. He was spending a lot more before, and he seriously thought, you know what, it's just too much now, and I'm over it, and this isn't what I want in my game anymore.
Yeah.
So he's seriously
I'm hearing that
contemplating.
I'm hearing that across the board from a lot of people right now. A lot of people I never thought I'd hear get to that place. And so I think that, obviously there's a lot of things we could talk about in the nerf, which we're not going to talk about right now. We've already beat that horse dead. We've hit it with our tickling blade many times. Yes. I think this is a really important thing to address for CG right now. And I really hope that they do. And I hope that they acknowledge that, you know what? We went too far on the grind side. We're going to try to find ways to keep this interesting without just making it a grind fest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Only saying it because we care, not because we want to really get uproary. We don't want to jump up and down and carry on. It's just that's what people are saying. Take it or leave it. But
people take it to crazy legs. I saw one post where it was a whale who was quit. It was a quit post that was appealing to Doja Fett that he needs to quit his job.
I saw that as well. Seriously.
I'm like, come on, guys. Like, seriously.
Yeah. How's about a little bit of no?
There's so many things I could say about that. But anyway, with Conquest, people quitting the game, anything else that you think we need to hit on that before we move on to Lord Vader?
I think we've said enough, mate. I think the overwhelming majority definitely want to see some sort of adjustment one way or another. It's up to CG to look at it and see whether they want to do that or not. That's out of our hands.
Yeah, and I really hope they do. And you know what? See, maybe CG is watching this video and think, well, Cubs, your subset of people isn't a representation of the whole community. You're absolutely right. They're not. So, I think that they're a valuable sample size, but poll the whole community, look at the engagement across the board. And, I would imagine that there's got to be ways to gauge, maybe we're wrong. Maybe the community as a whole actually does like this, and it's just the people who follow YouTube or whatever. But I have a hard time seeing that. This just
may I just say, Cubs, I reckon I have a lot of contacts across, like top leaders in a lot of communities. I reckon maybe about 10 or 12 that I speak to quite regularly. Let me tell you, the thoughts are the same across the board. This is not just a Cubs fan poll that's one off. Yeah. The numbers are pretty consistent everywhere. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. So anyway, well, okay, we beat that horse dead.
Yep.
Is Lord Vader coming this week? Now, I don't know if CG has made an official event date post that I have seen, but we're 2 weeks tomorrow from when the last round of Rex dropped. And I believe that is the timeline that we've seen for every GL. And so we still have no kit. What's happening here, Heidzi? Enlighten me.
Okay. I do believe that from what I've heard around the traps, I put my ear to the ground and I believe that a kit has been recorded.
I believe that was stated on the App Gains interview with Crumb.
Correct. That's right.
Yeah.
So it has been recorded. It's just a matter of release date and time. I'd be very, very surprised if we don't see it at this point next week. At the very latest next week, we'll see a kit. And then we know it's only about a week to 10 days after that normally that it's in the game normally. So
who got the exclusive? Is it you?
No, it is not me. Absolutely not me. I wouldn't. I've never spoken to Crumb or Doja ever. Honestly, the only time I've spoken to them is on another stream before a charity stream. But I don't have any.
Can I be
contact
honest for a second, CG? If you guys are watching this, you're talking to a lot of people. Why are you not including this guy over here? This guy needs to be talking to you. I know you didn't tell me to say this, but I
probably because I got no hair. That's probably what it is. Must be some sort of must have hair rule.
You know what I think it is? I think Crumb and Doja are big Foster's fans, and you keep dogging on their beer.
Hey! No one's a big Foster's fan. Let's be clear about that. Nobody is.
It's got to be a matter of time, man. It's got to be a matter of time.
Oh, it'd be amazing. I love you guys. Look, I love this game. It would be cool. But again, I'm not going to sit here. You guys are doing your thing, and you know where to find me. I'm not that hard to find. It would be super cool one day, though.
So you think that it's going to be next week, not this week?
Well, I believe I would be very surprised if it's not this week. I don't know that 100%, but worst case, if it isn't, it will definitely be next week.
Yeah.
It has been recorded. It's in the can.
It's got to be. I think the kit has got to be dropping today.
Yeah, it's probably going through legal. It's probably going through legal, Cubs. This sort of thing, goes through legal, don't they? When it comes to this sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's just a matter of time, guys. But it'll be sooner rather than later, 100%.
Okay. Well, hopefully we will see that soon. Stay tuned. I will be live later today, and hopefully we can get a reaction to that before I have to go into my my counseling job. So, anyway, Heinze, thanks for joining me today, guys. Sorry for a little bit of a downer. I really feel like we gotta call it how we see it right now, and I'm not feeling great about where things are at right now, and I think Conquest is a big part of that. I think maybe I attack Conquest specifically because I don't think the nerf is going to change. Like they're not going to dial that back. They're going with what they're going with.
Done.
Conquest is changeable.
Yes,
so I want to make the argument.
Changeable.
It's made to be changeable, and so this is, I think, where we realistically need to pour our feedback right now, because I think that that's something that is very, very plausible to change for them. Now, I mean, I've seen some people bring up the Pokemon Go situation, like the community was outraged and they dialed back some changes that were made over there, and I looked into that situation. So maybe it's possible that they would dial back the nerf. I don't think so. No, and I would love to see them adjust Vader and a couple other things, but Conquest specifically, I think this is something that is very, very live and very much something that they are looking for feedback on. So I really hope to see evidence that they're listening to this and see some adjustments.
Yeah, there's a lot of people unhappy with all the changes to the characters. Totally understand, but a lot more people are not happier with the Conquest. That in their mind is definitely a bigger issue than the changes to the kits, because people are kind of getting accustomed to them already, because they already knew some time ago that this was going to roll out. But yeah, this Conquest is definitely blindsided a lot of people.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully we see some adjustments, and we will be continuing to cover and give our takes on Rogue Actions. We still got more to talk about. Check down link below. We're going to be continuing this conversation with Heinze, and in the meantime, let's just show you Han, because he shoots first, and that's how the video ends.